difference.
COVID-19 tips sponsored by Deck Soap. 1. Practice social distancing. 2. Wear your mask when leaving the house. 3. Wash your hands regularly for 20 seconds using our Deck Soap. 4. Cover your nose and mouth with a disposable tissue or flex elbow when you cough or sneeze. Choose Deck Soap for that extra cleanliness. Deck Soap is
You're listening to us right here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 FM. That is 99.1 FM in Demerara and Essequibo, and 99.5 FM in Berbice. Online at KaieteurNewsOnline.com, and of course via our Facebook page, Kaieteur Radio. You can also find us on YouTube at Kaieteur Radio live stream, and at this time that we bring to you today's edition of Wake Up Guyana. Just before we hand things over to senior journalist Leonard Gildarie, we would like to remind you that due to the ongoing protests, newspapers have not been reaching to Berbice, and as such, we're asking you or our readers to notify your relatives, friends, and others to tune in to Kaieteur Radio 99.5 for daily news and hourly updates of what is taking place in and around Guyana. And of course, Leonard will walk us through these and many more in his show this afternoon. So I now hand things over to him. Leonard, a pleasant good afternoon to you. You're muted, Leonard. Can you please unmute? Yes,
Got you.
Leonard, over
Are
to
you
you.
hearing me with there, George?
Yes, you're clear. Good afternoon, over to you.
Sorry. My apologies there. And Josh, I think we're still in the news segment according to the Facebook there. But let's get right into the hang of things today. Thank you very much. And it is September the 10th, 2020. And we are getting on just 3 more months, just over 3 more months left for the rest of the year. And what a year it has been for the year 2020 in terms of what the people of Guyana would have gone through. Stand very strong. The rest of the world, it will not be a forgettable year. It is going to be one that for a very long time in terms of all kinds of things, the pandemic, and also, especially for Guyana, the elections, and now we're also dealing with the West Berbice. There's some very good news that we'd have to tell you today, and which is that traffic is flowing. The army is helping out there. The joint services is helping out the escorting of vehicles, and that would have been a deep worry over the last couple of days. And there is some trouble in the camp politically, at least for one coalition, when it comes to seeing eye to eye on how the issues are to be tackled. We want to bring you that, and we also want to tell you that Kaieteur Radio is going to continue to do what it has been doing, which is bringing to you the news in the absence of you not getting the newspaper in Berbice. There's very little we could have done. The entire road would have been blocked off. I was told by our publisher and owner of Kaieteur Radio, and that's a publisher of Kaieteur News, Mr. Glenn Lal, that he is very much aware of the inconvenience that people would have suffered by not having their favorite newspaper. And that is why we are pulling out the stops to make sure that you get the news. And will continue to do that. No other than the biggest favorite radio station in Guyana, Kaieteur Radio 99.1, 99.5. You can also get us on Kaieteur Radio on Facebook or Kaieteur Radio live stream on YouTube. And so it is September the 10th. I want to welcome everybody who would be joining us every single day onto your program. It is your program, not ours. I'm just facilitating. We are facilitating you here today. And what was it that you need to know today when it comes to the news? So we are going to bring you that. Let me just read to you what the Region 5 authorities would have said with regards to the opening of the road today. And according to our reporter down in Berbice there, Melissa, good day, Melissa, to you there, Melissa Plater Harry. And this is what she said that the RDC of Region 5 would have says. And they've issued a notice Persons who are currently stranded in Region 5 are asked to assemble at the time and location stated hereunder to be escorted safely to their homes tomorrow, Thursday, September the 10th. That's today. And this is for traffic going east at 8:30 Novar. Well, we would have gone past that. Novar Primary School, Novar Maiconi at 8:45 Satya Cinema, 9:10 Fowles Gas Station, Fowles West Coast Movies, 9:15 it would be Curry's Supermarket, Golden Fleece, West Coast, Berbice. 9:45, Jumbo Jet Square. 10 o'clock, Double R Ranch, Bat Settlement. 10:15, Furrows Gas Station, number 6 Village. 10:25, Nanar Gas Station, Cotton Tree. Now going west, starting at 10:50. Well, we would have gone past, but I'm still telling you. Nanar Gas Station. Or at 11:05 Feroz gas station, 11:20 Double R Square, 11:35. Let's go forward because you'll be very interested. Up to 12:30, um, everybody had to meet up to 12:30 at the different points. The last point, if you're coming down to Georgetown at the Novar Primary School, 12:20 at the Satya Cinema. So it looks as if what we were told is that the joint services, the armed security from our security forces would have been escorting people from the Berbice area to and from at various points to that area. They did not say going if there was any more going to those areas, coming to those areas past the 1 o'clock phase. We don't have that at the moment. But what we could tell you is that there is a number of stories that is coming out here. Was it about coconut? Was it about marijuana? We're hearing several stories coming out. So the authorities, the investigators have their hands very full to see. And what might have been painted about this being um, a racial issue, a ethnic issue, might not very well be that. It could be something else. And we're hearing several stories coming out now. Maybe that's why this boy yesterday was killed, Harish Singh. We are developing some stories at the moment, but there's several angles there. But in the meantime, we are going to get straight into the Kaieteur newspaper because we want to bring you to the news and we want to tell you what is it that the Kaieteur newspaper is saying today with regards to what has happened in Guyana and what is it that you should be concerned about. So in the meantime, that is coming up there. What I should tell you in a very short while, we're hoping to get on to Mr. James Bond, who would be one of the opposition persons who would have been leading Walla Lawrence, who's chairperson of the People's National Congress reform. She would have gone to Barbies and she was extremely critical, calling on the persons to stop her protesting and allow the traffic to pass. She would have also made it very clear, called on the leadership of the People's National Congress reform to ensure that this road, that the situation is righted and that they should not go about it. It should be significant because she is a leader within the coalition, within the People's National Congress reform, which is the far by far the biggest party within the coalition, and therefore she was the former Minister of Health, and she made that very clear when she was up in Berbice that this is something. So we're hoping to get James Bond, who's one of the leaders within the party as well, to get a stake on it and what exactly is happening. There seems to be some kind of quarrel going on as to the stance of the coalition with regards to the West Berbice people. On one side, they're calling for the people to continue the civil disobedience. On the other side, they're saying, open up the road, allow it, and allow the system to work. And so the front page of Kaieteur News very quickly, because we want to open these lines and we want to talk about the issues that affect you on the Wake Up Guyana show. So Bat Settlement man beaten to death after shooting at protesters. And this is, the story that the police put out here is that he came out of his car and allegedly shot in the air with a gun and then shot at the supporters. They rushed him and they beat him to death. Lots of things strange with the story. If he shot at the protesters with a shotgun, how come nobody was hurt? If he did shoot at the police, at the protesters, where is the gun? Did they find a gun? And so let's go straight into it. grandson of suspected Berbice teen's murder, killed in Baghdad, motorcycle burned. And so this seems to be a tit for tat, a revenge killing, a vigilante killing, whatever it is. But there's emergent stories now which point to some other things. If you find that I'm speaking a little too loud, that's because the rain is pouring very heavily and we're having it beaten up in the roof there. So forgive me. I'm not sure if you have good weather like mine, but it's a lot of rain that's going on out there. And so this is a story that we're going to continue following. The police came out not too long ago and did say that they have sent a file with regards to the East Bobby's killing now. That's another killing with a boy named Jonas, and that has gone to the DPP for advice. Two persons remain in custody. Back to the Kaieteur front page, West Coast Bobby's government to seek help from the British to launch international COI to urge to aid investigators. And this would have been coming from the president himself, the Dr. Irfan Ali. And he is saying that, look, this thing cannot continue. There is what has happened here, it's almost criminal to its effect. And therefore, we need to put an end to it. We want to know who are the people who would have been leading this criminal actions by a few. And he is also very concerned about those two people. And so he says, I'm willing to call on the United Nations as well as the British authorities to come in and help us. So the Home Affairs Minister also warns against traffic Barbados riots worsen. Man says co-workers were part of violent protests that beat and shot him. And I stop here because this is a very serious story. Imagine your workers, your co-workers, you're driving and you're seeing some people are standing in the crowd that is protesting, that may be beating people, and they are your co-workers. How do you do that? So you understand how serious this is when it comes to managing our country, when it comes to what we do. It affects everybody else. And a man is seeing you on my when they go back to work, how you believe they're gonna see each other. So that is how far-reaching. That is the implications of what we have today in this country of ours. So we have another worker here, and this is stories that are very significant that is coming out. Workers take over driver's seat of vehicle to save boss from violent protesters. And let me tell you something. The newspaper is being very, very diplomatic in the way it handled the story. But the story behind this is that it's an Indian man who is a boss and his worker is of a different ethnicity. And when he see the crowd, he said, boss man, I will drive. Because if you drive, there's going to be trouble. And the boss man gave it to him and he took over. And that is how they were able to get it. So you understand what's happening here? And this is a very not a significant story here. I'm not a racist. Put an end to the violence. And this is coming from the father of the murdered teen, Isaiah. Now, this man is saying very clearly, this is not something that I endorse. What are you protesting for? What are you going on the road for? Why are you blocking the road? Why are you beating the people? I'm not endorsing this. I have no part in this. I wash my hands clear in this. So it's very, very clear. This is criminal in its entire behavior. And that is what Walla Lawrence is one of the leadership within the People's National Congress reform is saying very clearly. You guys have to be very careful in what you're doing. And so I'm going to read to you in a very short while what Walla Lawrence says, what Rickford Bark says, because Rickford took her on. And they are both are leaders or both are said to be persons that are big supporters of the People's National Congress reform. Labor Minister put Exxon to allow a notice of unequal pay, treatment of Guyanese work. I love the story because when we would have heard many complaints about Guyanese people being treated, they're being hired by third parties, by what you call employment agencies, if you want to say that. And these people are being paid the bulk of the money, the hawk share, if you want to say, and then pay them next to nothing. And the labor minister says, look, I am not going to allow this. We are going to come as a government. We are going to inspect you. We're going to inspect the offshore thing, and we're going to talk to these workers. We want to hear what is the truth here. So this is a very good move. This is a very good posture that is coming from our authorities there. And so we are going to also read what Mr. Glenlal, what the newspaper says. It has a notice to the people up in Burmese here with regards to delivery of our newspapers and other things. Due to the ongoing protests, newspapers have not been reaching Burmese as such. We're asking you, the readers, to notify our relatives and friends and others to tune into Kaieteur Radio 99.1, 99.5 for the daily news and hourly updates of what's taking place in and around Guyana. So that is what I must say to you today, that you can get us up in Berbice there. Berbice, tune in to us on 99.5. And if you don't want to tune in on the actual radio, you have two other options. You could go on YouTube and you could go on Facebook. On Facebook, it is Kaieteur Radio on Facebook. And you could go on YouTube. It's Kaieteur Radio live stream on Facebook, on YouTube, sorry. So these are some of the stories. Of course, the big one that would have been is that government presented the $330 billion budget, which has outlined several measures. I think it's about 4 or 5 measures. And yesterday we did start talking about some of those measures. Today we're going to continue talking about a little bit that because there has been some pushbacks. Some business people are thinking, especially about the style issue, that is saying, there's something definitely should not have been. Of course, there's others says, well, we can't pay 12,000, we could pay maybe $7,000-8,000 for tire, used tire. So there's pushbacks as well as that, and we have to bring you those stories as they come. Of course, as we go down, let's see what are some of the other things. Condemned to emergency room cases. Our editorial there is so very sharp and so incisive on a daily basis. And the NANLAL supports Granger's appointment of senior counsel. And so there is that, you remember Timothy Jonas took the government and the Attorney General to court over the naming of 4 senior counsel by David Granger in his last days as president last year. So we are going to continue to pay attention. That story is before the court. And of course, a bad settlement man beaten to death after shooting at protesters. The sister or relative of the gentleman is saying, I didn't even know that he had a gun, but he was beaten badly. Did he have a gun? Did he shoot into the crowd? And why was nobody saying? So there's so many stories that's coming here. The police report did say that he shot into the crowd, according to reports. The president, of course, with that statement there. Freddie Kissoon using a deeply moving tragedy to grab power. So he would have come out. He believes that what's happening in Berbice there is very clear, a political attempt by the PNCR and the coalition to grab power through the back door. And that is his thing. So there's many photographs that surfacing here, and this is something, forgive me, several photographs here that show you damage to minibuses and so on. Persons being, you could see injuries to person. One man show a very severe chopped his hands. And you see up in Berbice there, people standing there, army folks walking up and down. And then there would have been this man here, Mr. Roy Jaffer Ali and his wife, who is of a different race, Indian blacks married together. His house was stoned because maybe he's parked or he's close to the People's Progressive Party Civic. When you look at these entire thing and you see, and I'm saying shame on you, because a man is of a different race. Maybe he is of a different, and I'm not saying that the People's Progressive Party is I'm not Gildarie is not of any party whatsoever. I'm talking about our tolerance here. Make it very, very clear. Our tolerance as a people for somebody who is of a different religion, who is of a different political party or a political persuasion, if you will. You have a right. It is part of your right that is enshrined in the Constitution of Guyana. You have that right to do that. Our right, our freedom of association. That's why I would be the first one to tell you that we have a right to protest. We have a right to protest peacefully. We don't have a right to attack anybody. That is not your right. The minute that you cross that border there, you're entering into the realm of criminality. So let's don't beat around this bush here. This is something when our people lost their life, when innocent people are killed, when people are killed, that is not something that Gildarie and the rest of the people are going to stand by. And that is why I say to you, I agree with the president when he says he needs to get international help here. Bring in the United Nations authorities here so they could be able to look at what transpired. Because for everything, like what happened here, it's going to leave a deep scar in our psyche, in our lives going forward, in the lives of the Cotton Tree people, in the lives of the region. the number five village people there. They would have been living together in peace over the years. And guess what? One single incident, a couple of politicians, and a match was all that it took. That was forever, or maybe for a very long time. But I believe that our people are smart people, and they could see further than what is being outlined to them, what is being written for them, what is being told to them, the stories that are being told, and narratives that are being given to them. Let us make it very, very clear that our people are not like that. They're going to live again, and they're going to be brothers and sisters. But this scar here is going to take a long time to go away. We're not going to forget your faces. I can remember that cricket many years ago, a couple of years back, when Guyana was in the World Cup, I think the 2020 World Cup, and Guyana won, and there was that very famous that very famous statement. I think it was either Ian Bishop or one of them commentating and says, "Remember the face, remember the name, Carlos Buffett." And for a very long time, we are going to remember these names and these people who would have been doing that. When I saw that very graphic video of that man punching that poor minibus driver through the windows, that is not something what our country is about. We are better people than that. And you've forgotten one very important thing. You don't know who the enemy is. The enemy is not your brothers and sisters in Guyana. What you have to fight is for a better deal. The better deal has to come from your oil, your gold, your diamond, your bauxite, your timber. Make it very, very clear. Your oil, your wealth, and what you should be fighting for is for the proper taxes to be paid, that there should be no tax evasion or very little tax evasion should be reduced. And what we should also be telling you is that you should also be fighting that you're contracted to give you a full job that is value for money, and not just that we've been screwed or given a 6 for 9. Hear me very clearly. You're not being given a 6 for 9. Because when you pay that money, you said that you could do this job for that certain amount of money. And if you bid and you want the contract, you have to deliver. You have to be the ears and the eyes of the people of Guyana. You are citizens. That's who I'm talking to. So wake up, because this is the Wake Up Guyana show. So I am going to bring you up. In the meantime, while it's showing that, I'm going to bring you to that very big argument, or we would say that is some very strong sentiments coming from the people's the hierarchy of the People's National Congress reform. And let me read to you what Bork would have said, and then I'm going to tell you um, what report Bork said to Robaldo Lawrence. The only people inflicting carnage are the PPP directed supporters and police officers. So report is saying here that the PPP directed supporters and the police officers among the crowds, and they were the ones who were inflicting the carnage. Do you imagine that? Imagine the police were there, and the People's Progressive Party ministers were there, and they're being chased at some instances. And he is saying that they're the ones that is there among the supporters and the police officers. Let's go further. We cannot play in the hands of the PPP racers. Guyanese are not prepared to have the countrymen and women slaughtered again in silence. He didn't say anything about the Harris thing. Guyanese are not prepared to have the countrymen and women slaughtered again in silence, while PPP leaders, PNCR leaders, twiddle their thumbs as they did for the last 5 years and neglected to commission an investigation into PPP death spot killings. This is the death spot killings of women. Let the people protest peacefully and engage in internationally accepted forms of civil disobedience until there's equal justice and an end of PPP oppression. Black lives must be respected like all other lives. Black lives matter. Indian lives matter too, my friend. Indian lives matter too, my friend. So let's make that very, very clear. All lives matter, in fact, in the end. My life matters. My kid lives matter. Everybody lives matter. And guess what? My property matters too. When I'm driving my minibus, I don't expect you to break it. When I'm seated in my property or I'm in my yard, I don't expect you to pelt it. I'm to hear of anybody who's been pelted, whose property has been damaged. So let's get it very, very clear. It has to be, we have to protect all Guyanese, and we have to be very fair about this. This is what Walla Lawrence had to say to Rick Ford. Good morning, Rick Ford. You're entitled to your opinion and views. some of which I share and others I do not. However, my track record is there for all. The PNC is a multiracial party. What has taken place in Region 5 is not right. I refuse to condone such actions in any form and fashion, or people attacking each other. Who will be the winner in court? The rich people have security guards to protect their life and property. What do the ordinary man have? Let us seek justice for our boys, and justice is it. And I fully agree with Walter Lawrence. I asked Joshua, I asked James one to get in contact with us. He says when you're ready. I did send you the number. When you're ready, guys, put through that call for James one. I want to talk to James one. James one is a young man that I like. He echoed the same thing like Walter Lawrence yesterday. Let us heal. Let us make sure that we open the road. No more violence. That is what we're going to use this radio forum for. We're going to use the Facebook forum for. We're going to use the YouTube forum for. Let there be no more violence. Let us open the road. It's very good that we have the army has decided to lead people now, escort people, because people would have been stuck on the roads. I could imagine you came down here doing business. You didn't walk with an extra pair of underwear. Yes. You didn't walk with extra money. You didn't walk with anything else. What you did and left stuck for a couple of days on the road. Caught in between two separate factions of roadblocks.
Leonard, sorry to cut.
Imagine where you would have had to stay. So good day. Am I on to Mr. James Bond? How are you doing, sir?
I'm not too bad. I'm not too bad.
Thank you very much, James. Thank you very much. I did indicate to you. This is Leonard Gildarie, Kaieteur Radio. I did indicate to you, sir, that I will give you a call. I did see your post yesterday, and I want to say that I admire that from you as a young leader within the People's National Congress reform, and in fact from any leader in Guyana which is going to call for peace, that cool heads prevail. What's the situation that you're hearing from Barbies there, Mr. Bond?
Well, when we left there yesterday, last evening, the situation was relatively peaceful. I think back settlement, there were some playings at that end, but coming right down, the roads were being cleared. Persons were removing from off the roadways. I think I saw whilst I was at 41, the Prime Minister's entourage traveling to Berbice, and persons were off the road, basically off the road in any numbers. But there's still some work to do. And one thing is that I hope at some point we get to address the deep-rooted causes for the flarings. I don't think these things just happened, but there is a root cause which we must address and address frontally.
Yes, I do agree with you. And we have to start somewhere. One of the things that we see coming out, Mr. Bond, is that you see that maybe there's some accusations that criminal elements introduce themselves into these peaceful protesters who are doing the thing. Did you get any impression of that? Did you see anything like that? What are some of the conclusions that you would have brought?
I saw that firsthand. I inserted myself at one time. Someone tried to reach into the pockets of a gentleman, and I told him, "You can't do that. Put it back." And he put back the man's money. So indeed, there are persons who were hurting the image and memory of the two young boys. They're also hurting the actions of the peaceful protest, bringing it into disrepute. And that's when people say that they've experienced some amount of criminality, they're not making it up. I saw it firsthand on two occasions. We were working there, persons don't know, we were working there, Comrade Lawrence and myself and some others. We worked there 2 days straight, consecutively. We were to work there today, but decided against it because she has to prepare for a court matter tomorrow, and I think she went to see her lawyer. So,
right.
2 days we were up there working there, meeting with protesters, urging them to remain peaceful, urging them to remain calm, urging them not to allow elements to infiltrate, because this is indeed happening. And when persons call for peaceful, but somehow I think there's a section of society who thinks it's weak. It's not weak. Um, you could achieve much by gathering in your numbers. I think in Georgetown there was a peaceful protest where large number of persons came out and it sent a message. And you could actually send a very effective and strong message by gathering in your numbers. The relatives have already said they do not want the violence. So the criminal elements must understand that. Um,
Uh,
they must understand
but
that and accede to that.
uh, And Mr. Bond, we did, of course, they had to pay very close attention to Ms. Bolilar, the former minister, somebody who's a chairperson of the People's National Congress, with her statements yesterday. And then, of course, today, they have made it very, very clear to record board, because he is saying that the only people who were inflicting the carnage are the PPP directed supporters. I want to bring your thoughts to that. Did we see any evidence of the PPP supporters or any other supporters there? Or was this a plain case of those criminals who took advantage or who used the opportunity to turn what is supposed to be the civil or what should have been peaceful protesting into something else?
Well, I don't. That's one thing I've stayed away from. If you observe, I've stayed away from any political connotation to the protest action, and I've stayed away from any racial connotations to the protest action. You will notice that, and that the reason for this is that I do not want any message to get lost. Politics and race are the two most divisive things we have in Guyana, and I would like in addressing anything with the boys to stay clear of politics and race. Um, Indeed, there were incidents at Bad Settlement. I think whilst I was at Hopeton, I could attest to this fact. A gentleman came driving down. His vehicle was badly damaged. He claimed that he was passing through Bath, and they broke his vehicle. They broke up his vehicle, stripped his bumper. I saw that with my own two eyes. I think also while we were up there, we saw riot squad heading to Bad Settlement. Apparently, someone was shot. Whilst I think the police are claiming that he shot at the protesters at Bad Settlement, and the persons beat him, and he died subsequently at the Fort Wellington Hospital. I was there when that happened, when we got that report. But I would not put a political connotation, I will not put a racial connotation to any of the actions that are happening on the West Coast. It's a national tragedy. These are national incidents, and I think we should for once, in the name of Isaiah, Joel, Orlando, Darrell, and all the others, Harish Singh was found dead in his back dam. 70-year-old Harish Singh was also found dead in his back dam. So I do not want to insert anything political into that. I leave that to the politicians. I don't want to insert anything racial into it. I leave that for the racists.
I do appreciate that, Mr. Bond. Let me ask a question. I saw the president, Dr. Fernali, last evening made some statements, one of which that he is willing, or they are making moves now, to turn to the United Nations as well as to the British for help to see whether they could, bring some light, shed some light, and help with the investigative part of things, as well as to also bring some closure to some of these incidents from now. What are your thoughts on that? Is this something that we need, or do we have the capacity right here?
Of course, it's something we need. I think Nigel Hughes, and we should give credit to Nigel for actually first mentioning that. I think the Guyana Human Rights Association also mentioned it. So now that President Ali would have said that Guyana will be taking that route, any right-minded Guyanese must welcome it. These were what we were asking for since Isaiah and Joel turned up dead. So it is a great relief that we're going down that route. You see, if we do things right, that's something that we must always strive for as a country, to try to get it right. Because when you start off on a bad footing, it is hard to fix and fit yourself back in after that. So I think we must first and foremost try to get this right, so that if there's no reoccurrence, that we know exactly why and how these incidents occur, and we could better treat with it in the future.
So I rather presume that James Bond is going to play a big role in, or he wants to play a very strong role aside from politics in making sure that we find that healing.
That was always me. That is always me. Persons who know my upbringing, know where I come from, know what I stand for. They know what I am about. I'm always a person who is a team player, who has Guyana at heart, who loves everything the Guyanese. I love the country to a fault. So I play whatever role and part I could play. I just know that in some, I realized, probably too late, but I realized that you have to be cautious with how you position yourself. And that is something I'm doing right now, trying to position myself cautiously on the national landscape. So you could find me playing various roles um, in order to see a country that we all could be proud of. Because at the end of the day, I must say this: I do not intend to live anywhere else but Guyana. So I want to see the best Guyana could be in the near future and the years ahead.
I do thank you for that, Mr. James Bond. And I think we are going to continue. I like your language, I like your posture, and I think that is what we need from our leaders in Guyana. So thank you very much, sir. Gildarie is going to get back to you, and we hope that you make some more appearances on Kaieteur Radio, because those are the kind of language that we want to hear from our leadership in terms of healing for this country. It doesn't matter. This thing has nothing to do with race or politics. It has to do with our people, and we being one in order to fight the real enemy that's out there.
Can I make this point because I'm extremely controversial,
Thank you
and I
very
like
much,
being
sir.
controversial. Let me make one point. Let me make one point. It doesn't matter who the government is in. That person should always call for racial unity, all those nice words. But what happens is that when one side is in, the other side don't call for it. And when the other side is in, the other side don't call for it. And we must stop being that way. I know for sure a lot of persons, political pundits, political commentators, they don't entertain unity. They did not entertain those conversations while AP and UFC was in power. But now APN is in opposition. The PP Civic is in power. There's all this call for healing and all of that. We've got to be consistent as a people. We can't be hypocrites. If you want healing, then you must be wanting it on the APNU, AFC, PPP, JFP, JFAP, whoever. So I want Guyana to know that I'm taking cognizance of it. Is that there are persons who are now appealing for unity when all along AP and UFC was appealing for it, but they were disinterested in it. But now they're in government that they want it. But at the end of the time, look at the bigger picture, and I will keep speaking unity and healing for our country.
I thank you very much for that, and that's Mr. James Bond. And we will continue our talks, Mr. Bond. Have a
Thank
pleasant
you,
rest
sir.
of the day until
You
then.
too, sir.
Thank you
God
very
bless,
much,
man.
sir.
Bye.
God bless. So we would have had one of the leaders of the People's National Congress reform there, Mr. James Bond, and he would have been one of the faces of the coalition during the recent elections. But also he has played a different role this time with Ms. Walla Lawrence, former Minister of Public Health, who's also the chairperson of the People's National Congress reform, was up in Berbice yesterday, and what notably that came out of there took a pot shot, or did there was some kind of criticism that was leveled there at the leadership of the People's National Congress reform. So look, let's make sure that we bring peace, and she's willing to take it on. So, and she was there with James Wan. So it's an interesting situation being played out there. What has happened? But if you're now joining us, this is the Wake Up Guyana show, Kaieteur Radio, and we will tell you the Bobby situation now. Is that the road seems to be clear, and there seems to be truckloads of security forces, armed security forces, allowing or escorting vehicles, minibuses, others that would have been stock, trucks of paddies and so on to leave Berbice coming down to Georgetown. And so that's very, very good news. So at least we have some kind of a normalcy in terms of traffic, that is. It is not going to be normalcy in terms of the damage to the fabric of our society that is happening right now. So that is some kind of normalcy there. And so we are going to continue, and I'm going to ask Joshua to continue sending us those messages. We want you to send those messages to 6222222. And Josh, the messages are going to come via WhatsApp as well as a normal SMS. So we need to have a look at that as well. 6222222. And of course, we want to hear from you. 2267453. 2267453. We want to hear you come through. And you could start opening up the line, Josh, and put it through there so we could be able to talk to people. We want to hear from you. What are some of your thoughts? How do we heal this nation? How do we move forward? What is it that this government needs to do? Does the opposition have a role to play? What can Parliament do to bring our nation into a better situation? We should be one with each other and not one or a divided nation that cannot see who the real enemy is. And I want to make sure that that we understand it. We welcome all investors and everything, but we are very, very serious as a people. What we getting into this country here, we are very serious about our money is. You cannot believe that you would walk into our lands and waltz away with our money, with our wealth, and we not getting a fair share. All we asking for is a very fair share. We looking into that, and we calling on our government to ensure that we get a very fair share. That we don't want anything else. We want to make sure that we have our industries regulated. Well, when it comes to the oil, we have millions and billions of dollars there that is sitting. You cannot have one company here come and want to believe that he could bully us into submission. That's not what we are all about, Mr. ExxonMobil or Mr. ExxonMobil. It is this country here has to do with our wealth right now, and we want our fair share of the pie as we go forward. And the fair share of the pie is very, very simple. That deal that you signed with us in 2016, that deal is a no-go. We need something better than that. And going forward, when the other deals are going to be had for in the other blocks that we have, the oil blocks out there, we're going to be demanding that we get a deal that's comparable to the ones that are in the rest of the world. We no longer a frontier country. We have the risk basin, meaning that there's not a lot of risk that you go about that you don't know what is there. Everything is mapped, and we have a very clear picture of what we have out there now. So when you come in here and you want to do work, we should be telling you very, very clearly that we have our wealth out there, and we want to share piece of this pie, a fair share rather. So let's get it very, very clear. Joshua, when you're ready to put through those calls, please go right ahead and let us put it through. But our people need healing at the moment. And the president of Guyana, Dr. Irfan Ali, says he's willing to seek international help overseas, British help in our investigative capacity. Yes, good afternoon, caller. You are on the air. Go right ahead.
Yes, Mr. Gildarie, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Go ahead, ma'am. Right.
Regular listen to your program. Now, I want to make a contribution. Now, regarding this incident in Berbice, I am wondering, hoping that the government do take a list and names of all those persons who got hurt, got damages to their vehicles, fires to their homes and so on, and they give them some form of compensation or some sort of things like that for what they were going through these few days. That would be possible.
Well, no, it is. I think it's very good because even there's a lot of people. Imagine one man, a truck driver. Imagine you caught you know, one of the things that really hurt me is that I'm not sure if people are familiar with what it takes to plant rice. How much work it is, how much morning you got to get out there. You got to hope for the good rain, or you got to hope for good drainage. Yeah. You got to hope for so many things. And then you cut it, and you got to hope for the price. And imagine bringing it down, and somebody open the truck and dump everything that you have there and then set it afire. Do you understand what we're talking about? Do we really understand what we're talking about?
Yeah, Mr. Gildarie, we went through this in the 64 time when they had this racial tension. And it's terrible if you have to go back and think about it. This racism and these things, you know. But, I mean, I'm not concerned who they be, what race they be. But some sort of compensation or some sort of, you know, something to just heal them and help them back in life. That could be done. I agree.
And there's another part that we're not even looking at. So there's so many people who are going to be traumatized for a very long time. We even need counseling. There's not something, you know, when people start thinking about counseling, They said, oh gosh, the set of mad people that need,
Yeah,
they need to sit down and talk to a priest. No, 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 no. Everybody can't deal. Everybody can't deal with the issues like that. I hear what you're saying there, and I like what you're saying there.
Yeah, that should really be done, because they were traumatized, enough of them on the road. It don't matter if they are Indian, they're black, but I mean, I'm glad it's coming down to the end, because when you listen to say the police is there, they were there, and they were not doing them anything, because, I mean, that's good, because if you hit one of them and one of them die, then the thing going to escalate and that sort of thing. So they should think about that.
I thank you very much for that, ma'am.
Yeah,
thank you. God bless.
Good.
So, yeah. So it is good that we keep hearing these things, but a good point too also, while we might be thinking for some compensation for these people here, and what you heard James Bond say, that he stood up and he looked, a man pushing his hands in somebody else's pocket there, and he says, don't do that, please don't do that. And that man had to take his hands out of his of the person's pocket that he was going to rob. And you know what I'm saying to you, that you see these things here. So it is very, very clear to me that what you would have seen there is no longer, when you see leaders calling for it to continue. What are you protesting for? Protesting for what? If you're having peaceful protests, it's all right. But what you see there, you're pulling truck across the road, you're beating people, you're robbing them. Imagine so many people. You know how much for a windscreen? Do you know how much for a window? In this hard guava season, in a pandemic, people got to push their hands in the pocket. And I come back to this rice thing. Nothing deeply bothered me. I go to Barbies pretty often. I go to the rice villages. I like to see the country. I fall in love with the country. I see how hard farmers work, and I have tons of respect for them. And so when you go, I have family that's involved in the rice industry. And very early in the morning, they would come out, put on the long boots. They have to deal with snakes. They have to deal with rain. They have to deal with sun. And let me tell you, when that sun stand up in the sky there, you're in the back dam, it's not an easy thing. And you got to be there working, shine paddy, dealing with fertilizer, dealing with chemicals and all those kind of things, which could have adverse effect on your body. All kind of thing happen to you. This is why you see a lot of farmers drink, because it screws with the mind. But guess what? When you see how long these people take and they go into the farm and they work and they push things, and then you take the rice and you throw it on the road there, I can't forgive you for those kind of things. That is not protesters. Those are criminals. And I say it over and over. We have decent people here who want justice. That's okay. Something Gildarie would stand up on the road and I would hold a placard and says we need justice too. Because that is what it's enshrined in the Constitution. But when you take a man and you take the paddy and you dump it on the road and you burn it and you burn the truck and you don't know whether they owe the bag, whether they have insurance for that, you don't care because it looks different from you. That's not something that is good. That's not what our country is about. Like I said before, it comes back to dollars and cents. If you fight for what is right, I hope that you have the same passion to go out there and fight for a better deal with your oil. I've never seen one of you open your mouth or come forward and let's say, let me go in front Exxon office there in Kingston or wherever they hold the office and let me hold a placard. What are you guys doing? You want more money? Why is it that we got to be talking about oil? It's because we fail to see what is the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room before us is that you're fighting the wrong battles. The battles is not there. The battles, we're going to fix that. If we get more money, we're going to have a better police force. We're going to have capacity to deal with the forensic lab. We're going to have better paid police officers. We're going to have ambulances going to be on the streets, the streets there. We're going to have another harbor bridge or 3 harbor bridge. We're going to have more roads. You're going to have an alternative road and not one road that you have there. You're going to have better pensions. You're going to have better paid teachers. So many things we could go on and on. We could have helicopters flying over the scene there trying to get a handle of the situation. And we could have our troops being dropped into those areas there. So we could be able to deal with those situations in a very strategic manner. What are we doing? Who's the enemy that we're fighting? It sounds familiar, right? So let us get that very, very, very clear. George, do we have another call online? So in the meantime, while we're waiting on the call there, good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon, sir. You're there. Go right ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. I hope you're feeling better and everything is getting well.
My throat is going, man. I'm not sure, and I'm feeling, I'm not sure this COVID thing. Like I say, we've forgotten even to warn our people to be careful. It's leaving me dry, and I'm feeling after I finish this show here, I gotta go take a cup of pie because I am energyless. Meaning,
Yeah,
I
well,
gotta go take a rest.
we
That's what
gotta
it
take
does to
care of
you.
you. We gotta take care of you. We want you after COVID. We don't
Yes,
want.
I'm gonna be here.
And the topic to begin, I would like to say first of all that the act against those young men was very gruesome and sadistic, and the law has to deal with the perpetrators in the harshest form possible. But it's based upon your topic and healing of this nation. One of the things that we got to start to enforce, one of the things that we have to start to enforce is schools do it a bit where they got this little culture day and stuff like that. But we got to got in every village a culture day where each culture come together once a month, not once a year. And even if government has to fast it to the beginning, the end of the season, whatever. So people could interact and realize each of us are the same. We might look different, but we eat the same, we talk the same, we laugh at the same jokes. And when it comes to local content must not just stipulate that so much percent of Guyanese have to have work or business, but we have to make sure that we balance it in so much percent for the ethnic balance. You have to hire so much of Indians, so much of Africans, and so on and so forth. So each of us, as we work together, play together, we learn who we are and we respect each other more. And for somehow or some way, they have to try with the army and the police to incorporate different races into it. And one way America does it is by when these youngsters get caught for small crimes, give them a choice, 5 years in jail or 5 years in the army or the police. And you will get it to be more representative of full Guyana. And that way, I believe if we work together and play together, we will get respect for each other and we won't have these tensions if something wrong happens to all of us will come together. Thank you. Let's speak
I,
on that.
no, I agree with that, and we have got to find so many things. What a gentleman says, as always, he has hit the nail on the head there. We have there's so many things. We smart people here. We don't have stupid people in this country. Our leaders in this country. If you could be in there and you could be forever as a government in there, if you just listen to the people, if you have some kind of, we have enough of this country here. It's 83,000 square miles. Do you know how much gold? I had a friend, and I can't talk who the guy is, or I have a friend, and he's involved in mining. And one day he called, he says, Gildarie, we have a piece of land here, and I can't even begin to tell you about diamonds that we're finding. And he says, I don't even want to think it. I'm going to leave it for my children because I'm doing gold mining now. But he says, this land is so blessed. There's something called rare earth. Rare earth is something that you could use, and you could use it, I think, in electronics and things like that. We have so much things that we could do here. We could share it among our people. When you look, and the good thing about it, when we're talking about oil right now, and I come back to this because I've been asked by Mr. Lal, who every day keep trying to drill it into our head, that if we could get it right, we could bring down our poverty levels in Guyana, and we could be very well off. And our politicians need to understand this, that we have it right here in our hands, in our palms. We got to just make sure that we call if you don't have the exports, and I think they would have listened to us about Anthony Paul and a couple of the others that they would have hired. But we should be able to bring everybody on board here and fight for this. Understand right now we're fighting the wrong battles. It's early. It's just about a month into the People's Progressive Party civic administration, and I think they understand very very clearly. While they have that one seat majority there, and while there is another seat that is there in the small parties, the new parties, it is not a big majority. So you can't say that overwhelmingly that you have the people stick. What they do have is that people badly want to see this country right now heading forward, and we are. I think what we don't want to see the last 5 months. We wasted 5 months. Going forward, this 5 years is going to be very critical. There's gonna be the discovery of oil in the other blocks. They're moving towards that. So it's not only the Stabroek block that Exxon and Spartan has and Sinop has that we're looking at right now. And we need proper management of those areas. If we could put this together with our goal, I talked about goal in a very short while there. I talked about our bauxite. Every day we got to put it in because it should be an educational process for us to understand that when we working in a security company, we working in under the market, and the part of the wharf is falling apart to the back there. And we could have a boardwalk that runs all the way to Kingston. We could have so many things that could uplift our lives. We could be able to bring in vehicles into this country, and any vehicle, whether it's an SUV, the latest model and everything, and we could buy it and we could afford it because we don't have to pay those fancy and those big duties and taxes that we forced to pay at the moment. That is what we're talking about. Let's get it right. This is the Wake Up Guyana show on Kaieteur Radio. Wake up and smell the coffee, folks. So we're fighting the wrong enemy among ourselves because a couple people did not get the message. They did not get the telegram. They did not get the memo, which is take your banner, take your blockade, take your barriers, and you come down to Georgetown and you go in front of ExxonMobil and the rest, or maybe GGMC or somebody who's not delivering, and put your banners in front there. I want a better deal. See how fast, see how quickly that the authorities are going to think. I'm not saying that I'm fomenting or pushing anything that is going to be civil disobedience that is going to lead to that. I'm just saying you have a right. And I'm saying for you, let's exercise our right in a very civil manner, in a manner that is coming with the Constitution, and let us fight the right battles. Let us don't fight the wrong battles. Our battle right now will be to heal and for us to pick up pick up the pieces as we go forward and bring this country back into the position that it should be in readiness for the wealth that we have out there. This is not jokey wealth. And let me tell you this. When you go to your boss, and it's very simple, I'm going to ask Glenn Lal for a raise. Why? Because Glenn Lal needs me. And I believe that he can't find another editor or a reporter like Gildarie. I'm going to go to him and ask him for a raise and tell him that if you don't give me a raise, I'm leaving and go to somebody else who appreciates me. It's very, very simple as that. So what you tell Exxon, what can you tell the Rosal and the rest of the companies? If you can't toe the line and do what is it that I expect of you, and you don't get me my deal, and my deal is my pay, I'm leaving. I don't need you anymore. I don't want you around me. I need people with positive energies. I need people who could respect me, and you're not respecting me at the moment. And so I know that I would have been there, almost preaching, but I can't stop it. I can't stop it because the answer to our problem is not fighting. The answer is very simply that's before us. And I think people might get a little tired of us preaching. But if you could get that right, we could be very rich people in this country. We could be comfortably off. Everybody who's complaining about pension and $25,000, that's joke money, my friend. You could get $100,000. You could get that. If you're talking about subsidy, all the persons over 50 could be able to get free electricity. Why? Because we have it. We have our wealth out there. It's there. We have to fight for it. We have to tell Exxon and tell the people that are coming in that this country belongs to us, and you're here in my backyard, and I am a shareholder, I'm your boss. You're not the boss anymore. So let's get it right. And so I hope that we are able to sing these thoughts into our head as we go forward. And I hear what the gentleman would have said.
Excuse me, Mr.
Leonard,
call.
yes, go ahead, caller. You're on the air. Go right ahead.
Yeah, we have a problem at CI and the
Yes,
whole at Katrina Leonard.
Yes, sir.
We now get water. We now get water. I don't know what I will do.
Where is this?
There's a CI.
This is CI. I'm sending this to Mr. Colin Crowell right now. CI and where?
CI, Katrina Leonard, the water, I come in the morning, barely you can pee more hard on it. And hold it in a come, and then after you get a little more. I don't know. Some people are this guy work up again, I come on. I'm telling you. Change this thing up over 3 weeks, this thing start up, I your water, but out of you.
This is 3 weeks now?
Yes, 3 weeks now. You had a break it, you want me to tell you the last time you come on and do it. But still the water doesn't come. Even the sink in my kitchen, me get your water. Me get your water from my standpipe. And when you do get water, it's really a piece of. I just sent it to the Minister of Housing and Water there, Mr. Colin Crowell, and he normally replies very quickly. He's a very proactive minister. Yeah,
and he's going to get. Let me see. I'm going to talk to him a little later too. and see whether you can do anything.
I'm glad that
Go
peace
right.
restored. I'm glad that peace restored in this country, man. I that will be serious. You know?
I agree with you, sir.
And people, you know, these people should not rob people, beat people, and all kind of thing. Indian people doesn't behave like how these people behave. I'm telling you, I born and grow. I'm 60-something years, and I know no matter if we give these people and they want a black president. I may tell you upon clear, they want a black president. If we give them $10,000, you give them $1,000,000. It's still. Let me tell you something. Me born and grow. Me get locked up for treason. You know what I want me for? Having a march of flower. And I came in and locked for 20-something black Indian all. And I got away for 6 months. When the case of trial, I know them a Carabisco. And may God show us Omani Moses Bagwan. He was alive. Stand up for 10 years.
I know Moses Bagwan. Is he still alive?
I don't know, sir. But that gentleman got $250,000 70, and the 70, the only 70, could have been about $2,000 bill in Woodhouse. 3-bedroom. And I tell you something. These people are not going to change, no matter what you do. If you get defeat, you get defeat. When people get defeat, people walk out. Allow them to go in. And what they did? Nothing. All money are squandered all about. Lotto, gold, this, that. We are educated people. We are peaceful people. We not like them. You go protest on the road and jump up and holler and keep nice and do all kind of thing. If somebody do something wrong and I got to get jail, That is my point of view. You understand what I'm saying?
I appreciate that very much, sir.
Yeah,
I've sent a message to the minister, and I think the minister will be looking into it. I'm going to talk to him a little later and let him look into it as well.
Okay, thank you, and God bless you, man.
God bless you too, my brother. So let's get to some messages that's coming here. Good afternoon, Mr. Gildarie. We're having a GPL problem here at Envoac Forest Compound since Tuesday. We, the residents, made several calls to the GPL emergency numbers, only to learn that the technicians is in Belladrum. I'm going to send this to, let me send it right away to Minister Deodat. I'm going to ask him to look into this, Minister Deodat in there, and ask him to look into this right away there. Just bear with me as we get some other things here. Okay. 1 second. This is yesterday. Bear with me. I don't have any assistant here with me. And okay, good. And it says the technicians are in Belladrum, Bushlot, Bath, etc. I personally went to the GPL office this morning, and the guards there were so racist and unprofessional. We can't get no water. Also, our items in the fridge start to spoil. It's very hard, especially at this time with the current situation in the region. I think the GPL problem is more slack connection somewhere because the lights have been bright for a few seconds and then start to dim. And then there's blackout all day and night. It's very frustrating here, Mr. Gildarie. Please assist us. If you're listening to us there in West Berbice here, on Vawak, I must tell you that I send that to Mr. Deodat in there. He's very proactive minister too, and I'm thinking that you're going to get some help there because they're in charge of the there of GPL. So let's see what happens. The Indian people are not Guyanese because if Indian are I'm not sure you are not Guyanese because if Indian were doing that, the police will not stand there and let them do that. They will shoot them, beat them, and lock them up. Let us come off of this right now. Let us encourage our policemen to do things. I understand the frustration. It is frustrating because we did see that very graphic video of that man beating that minibus man right across from where the police were standing. But I believe also that, we should push our people to do the right thing in this country. Let us encourage them. In the meantime, this crime in Guyana have to stop. We cannot leave everything on the government. Some people have to change the bad way. What the children growing today? We need peace. We need peace. Hello, Gildarie. How are you? See you getting dehydrated a lot. Is that due to the COVID or not? I think it is. I'm fighting. Leonard fighting for the oil share. You like a pie or something? I'm not sure what it is. It isn't that I'm fighting for myself. Of course, if you don't want piece of the pie, I want a piece of the pie. So let us get it. We should all get a piece of the pie. This country here does not belong to anybody else except all of us. It's our country. Whatever is there in our backyards in terms of the oil, in terms of the gold. I'm sure there's probably oil somewhere on the lands that we have here too, our bauxite, our diamond, our rare earth, which is something in big demand overseas. It is something. If I'm not sure if you want your piece of pie, I want my piece of pie. Mr. Laldo, you want your piece of pie? I want to say good day to all our people there. RM Singh, Dave Lal watching, and Barkley been with us day in day out. Aaron, JJ, Dolly, Caesar, Richmond. Let me see some other one. Ham Singh, how you guys doing? Karen Smith have been on us day in day out. Hardat Rampasad, Farah Ishmael, and Bridget Gobin. I want to say good day to you guys. Thank you for joining us here. Satrahan the Ramdio, Daramdio, I think it is. So Padma Singh, Banmati, Jean Ram, she's been with us day in day out, and so thank you very much. Um, uh, so you know, let us see how we could bring this country to the next level. Our message, I think, I have some good news for you. I've been talking to Yog, and we are gonna have some programs that's coming up. He wants to make himself available, or rather, we bullied him a little, and he says yes, Gildarie. So we could see him in a very short while in the future, maybe as early as next week. He and I are going to be back together, some forum or the other, on Kaieteur Radio here in the evening. He says, you know, Gildarie, we got to come back. I want to come back and do some things for people in Guyana. And I said, Yoga, I'm very happy. I know that our people down in the studio there, as well as my managers and so on, Tishana Lal and everybody else, they're busy pushing us, pushing myself to get something up and running. A lot of people have been calling us. They want us to get more of those night shows. We're working on it. We don't want to bring you something that is mediocre or anything. But at the end of the day, it is important that we keep our people on an even keel, that we write this country back to where it should be, that we talk, we give you the news without giving you any slants. This is not about us hiding anything. We don't have any agenda. Our agenda is the people's business, and that's what we are going to continue to do. So in the meantime, let me see if there's any other news. If I think there's one more statement that I have to read to you here, sent by one of our viewers, listeners. I'm heartened and overwhelmed by what's happening in our country presently. These actions have threatened to destroy all of Guyana. Both the opposition and the government have got to unite in this perilous time to address the situation. The racist situation in this country have gone on too long. It's never been addressed by any of the parties in government. We need to deal with it. We can bargain for more money from Exxon or any other multinational company, but if we don't address race relations in Guyana, then we're doomed. I don't think Joe Harmon or Rick Ford are helping the situation with their silly utterances. The situation has never been hijacked. This situation must never be hijacked for political gains. I wish my country healing and everlasting prosperity for all Guyanese, regardless of race, creed, or color. And by the way, sir, the elephant in the room is race. Thank you very much. And I do agree. We could agree to disagree. Whatever it is, we have so many issues in Guyana that we need to tackle head on. The way we manage this country, the way we manage our industries, the way that our regulators, when we talk about GDMC and talk about our mines officers and the corrupt things that they're doing, when we talk about the customs officers and some of the corrupt things that they're doing, and we could go on and look at some of our frontline workers, the people who are supposed to be regulators and are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. We don't want any corrupt customs officers here. We know what you're doing, sir and madam. We don't want any geology and mines commission officers here who are taking money from miners, who are taking money from people who are coming from abroad and from our neighbor in Brazil and so on, operating here without any kind of papers, but they're being allowed, given a heads up or a adge, as you know what an adge is. Back in the days, if you played as cricket or something else, and if you've been given a heads up or a start ahead of our Guyanese people, it's all because somebody has been taking money. Got to call them out. We're not going to allow you to get away with that. This is not what our country is about, and so we will be calling you out. We'll be calling anybody that's corrupt. So back to Envowak. The Envowak people, GPL, if you're listening, you guys, have to get that situation there fixed. GWI, the people in Leonard, Cornelia Island on the west coast of Demerara, they're saying 3 weeks now, you can't fix the water situation. You got to fix it. It's not a good situation. Up in Onverwag there, the people say the stuff is spoiling in the fridge. Joshua, do we have any other callers online there? Could we go to our callers? In the meantime, we're going to see if there's any other, any other thing that we...
You have a caller?
Yes, caller, good afternoon. Good afternoon, caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, hold on.
Yes. Yes, good afternoon, caller, you're on the air.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you? Go right ahead.
Just get 2 points clear up in Mr. Gildarie.
Yes, sir.
You know, this thing that's going on, right, is that you got to watch it 2 aspects. Now, when we had this Lusignan massacre, nobody come out, no Indian no come out and protest, nobody and beat up nobody, nobody and chop up nobody, nobody and rob nobody. But this thing here, as far as I am seeing some videos that I have saw before now, these police standing up and people being robbed, beaten, and all of these things. I can't see that you have a police being paid to serve and protect. You understand me?
Yes.
So how is it looking? If the police can't do the work, get the army. Look, there is no produce at Border Market or Big Market when you go.
Well, thank you for that. Right. Somebody called me on that this morning. They said little things like time. In fact, they were giving me some prices. I can't remember everything, like cucumber and things like that. Price has gone through.
There is no shallot in the market. There is no celery in the market. There is no pak choy in the market. Little bit of it to get in. And these, when they stop these farmers from bringing the produce, what they can do with it? Dump it? They can't dump it. It's money they pay for do all those things. Who cares about this?
1 second. Okay, go ahead. 1 second. Sorry, getting a call from GPL. 1 second. Siobhan, I'm on here. Go right ahead. I think you probably listen to us. Pretty good. Pretty good. And so, yes, they're asking if you could fix it. I'm going to try to get it and I'm going to forward it to you. But they're saying they have some data problem there. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to send it to you. Thank you very much. God bless you. Bye-bye. Sorry about that, sir. GPL that did call on the issue that the customer raised here. Go right ahead, sir.
When you do this with these farmers, how with them getting the money? They have workers, they're paying to plant these things. They create employment on the farm. You understand what I'm trying to say? Get the
of course.
Let them protect the farmers' trucks, them to come down and get it to come down so those people could, if those people got to carry their losses, it's very, very rough on the government to replace those people to get them footed back. You understand? When you get a crop loss, you know what is it?
No, it is. I can tell you, I've seen it. I know the farmers. I've been there and I see when the dump squash and things like fields of squash, and I see the look in the eyes, the despairing look. It's not something that you could stomach. It's not something that's good.
How, go back to us speaking, how are they going to get money to feed themselves in their home? Because that is what they depend on these things. Them, they produce the sell, pay the people them, and maintain the self. But these
right. I hear you. No, you believe no. You want to tell you why they don't care? Because they saw an opportunity. The criminal elements were interjected into this thing, and I'm going to talk a little about it after this conversation here. But so some people interjected. They don't care. They don't have no reason.
I could tell you.
No logics.
These criminal elements is not from Barbies. These criminal elements, them paid to do what they're doing. They getting a little free rum to drink, and they getting a little money in the Guyana. Look at the boy with the bus, but he was beaten yesterday.
Oh man! Yes, I saw that, man. That was That thing got me so very angry.
You know, you can't see Indo-Guyanese doing this nonsense. Look at Monrepo when the guy lost his life, when they was protesting after the election. Nonetheless, just
Yes,
go up
yes.
there and ask them to clear the road and let this person go their way. You understand?
Yeah, yeah.
If we take the road they can able, it would be
Well, there's a, yes, and that's why I was so upset with that thing. Yes, imagine a young boy lost his life yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't. And we don't know what the situation is. We're hearing some stories that's coming out now that included marijuana farm boss and all them kind of thing. And this may have been something. Now, if that is indeed the case, what are you? I mean, it brings an entire different light, and then our politicians got to be very, 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 very upset with themselves and ashamed of themselves to allow the situation to be like this, because they were encouraging the people to do that.
One moment, let me give you.
You imagine?
One moment, let me give you 1 point. You have 2 young guys like that, right? They're leaving home at every morning at 5:30. Where they're going at every morning 5:30. Doesn't the parents know where they're going? Which back dam you're going to? What you going and do? Aren't you finding out from them? Where does this thing start from home?
Well, one of them, I think one of them that the mom says that he was working at one of their estates or something. I think Leonard or somewhere, and he was leaving there every morning. That's what she says. He used to bring his pay packet and give to her. So I'm not disputing that or so. But what I'm saying, there's some other stories. Is you can have a job and have another job. I'm not saying that is what they were doing, but I'm just saying, supposing it comes to that now, what happens then?
Yeah, that is what I'm explaining to you. You understand? When you have children with those age, you have to find out from them where you're going, what you're going and do. You have to check on the background of the company, what they're going in with. You understand? But you can't blame a rice farmer. No rice farmer and kill a man and bring him and put him on the land. That big man they lock up there would not do that. You understand? When they do get down to the bottom line. You understand? But what I'm saying, our president is the commander in armed force. He have to get up and tell the soldiers and the police to do their job.
Right. All right, I hear you very clear, sir. I thank you very much for your call. And let's continue this conversation. I think you hit the nail on the head there.
Get the job done. You've been paid to do this job, man. You can't.
Absolutely.
You have to assume them sit down and eating the food. They're full in the belly inside of the barracks. You give them the uniform and let them go. Protect the people them that have to bring down the produce. Protect the trucks them and get them clear to come down. Use the pellet bullets. They come in the way, give you the treatment. You have no right of shocking. What are you doing?
All right. Thank you very much, dear sir. Thank you very much. Okay? God bless you. All right. Thank you very much. Siobhan? Yes, Siobhan. Go right ahead. I'm going to send you the number. I'm on air right now. Yes, I'm going to ask our boys to send it, and I'm going to text it to you. Thank you very much. I'm going to have to ask Joshua if you guys are in the studio there. That text there with the UNVOAC, the ministers, and everybody at GPL is looking into the matter. Could you text me the number for the guys so they could send it, or the person who sent it, so I can send it to GPL folks? Could you send that to me right away, please? In the meantime, the thunder is going, the rain is falling, so anytime I get kicked off, it means that we've lost power, and so I want to say that you would have to be with us. But to come back to the story here with what happened up in Berbice here, the killing of the 2 boys, we hearing several issues that's coming out there that might not necessarily be over coconuts. And so we are developing, we're waiting, we're looking to hear some news with regards to that. So you guys let's bear with us on that. In the meantime, I'm going to ask our boys in the studio to send me the number of that gentleman from UNVOAC that sent me that information there with regards to the power outage that they're starting as soon as I get it to, they're looking into that. So I want you to get that. With regards to the water shortage or the water connection, poor water quality on the west side of Demerara. The Minister of Housing and Water, Colin Kroll, says that he's going to make a check and he's going to address this. So, so they're saying that they're getting water there. So I'm not sure what's happening. We got to continue to check if there's an issue there. In the meantime, I'm going to ask Josh to send to me that number there with regards to Ongoing. Because when we disturb the minister from what they're doing, we got to make sure that we give them proper information. So let's see what happens. That's what our people are there for, and let's see. In the meantime, could we have another call come through while our boys there in the studio getting that number for Ongoing? Joshua, could you get me that number for Ongoing, please? Do we have another
Yes,
caller
we'll
in the
have a
line
caller
in the
here.
meantime? Good afternoon, caller. You're there.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Gildarie. How are you doing?
Thank you very much, sir. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I just started to find out because I'm listening to your program and I heard you talk about some of the things that they should they should look out for the treatment meted out to people by public servants in general. Right? And one of the things I would like to ask you if you can explain to me or if you can inquire as to what is it the ERC is getting this money to do. Because when I do the math, I'm not finding it adding up that they're giving them so much money for what they're doing. They should publish what work they achieve, what is their achievement for this money that they're collecting.
You talk about the rural constable that is attached to the stations.
I didn't get that.
You talk about the rural constable attached to the stations.
No, I'm talking about the ERC, the ethnic relations.
Oh yeah, that's a big issue. I have an issue with that.
Yeah, I don't see them doing anything for the money that the government is giving them. I don't know why the government keep giving them money. They cannot. They got to look at. You got to look at treatment reaching out to people by public servants that could create unity in this country. When you go to places, it's a hatred for people when you go to places and the kind of treatment you get from certain people is creating hatred among people. And I don't see why they're giving the ERC this money. Let it publish. I think they get $220 million. When you divide it, they get like approximately $700,000 to spend on a daily basis. What they're doing with $700,000 on a daily basis, just to call in somebody and ask them to do an apology publicly. I can't understand why the government is doing this. Why? And this thing happened from since in PPP time they had this ERC thing, and it went all through the PNC time, and now you find that they should publish what they achieve, for the value of the money that they're getting. So
I agree with you fully on that, and that's something in the coming days we are going to start looking, bring the spotlight right down into the ERC, because you cannot have them as a regulator sitting there. And when you commit a crime, imagine you're on Facebook or whatever it is, and people are attacking you, and they're using all kind of racial slurs and everything. And when you go before that, you know what they ask you to do? Please apologize. And then they go back and they do it. Please apologize. You need to charge them and put them before the court.
Exactly. But that's what. Please apologize. That's the only thing for all this money that they collect.
No, you can't. I'm not going to allow that. And I agree with you. If I give you so much hundreds of millions of dollars, you need to do something better than that. If you can't do the job, leave the job. You're in the wrong job.
Exactly. Let me see. Let it publish. Let me see what they're achieving for the money. It's like, a cane cutter got to work. He can only get paid if he put 10 ton cane in the fund. Then he will get X amount of money. Let me see what you're achieving for the money that you're getting. You just give people $220 million. We don't know what is the achievement, what they're achieving, what they're working, what they're doing for this money. I want to touch on something, one point quickly more. The thing that you raised about geologies and mines, I'm trying to make some effort to reach with the Minister of Natural Resources. One of the things I don't like what's happening in geologies and mines, they do testing, soil testing, and every time they find that land is favorable with gold, that would go to particular people with money. You understand? And these are some of the
I heard that, and we've been hearing that. This is why I follow the GGMC, because ever so often, miners would call and complain about them. There's a bunch of corrupt mines officers that we have here. And if the management has not seen something that's wrong there, then I'm not sure what management is doing. Every so often you hear a lot of complaints going on.
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I'm trying to get a meeting with the Minister of Natural Resource because I know a lot about gold. I know a lot about mining. I know so much thing. I don't know if I would get a meeting to explain these things because some of the things shouldn't fall within the jurisdiction of geologists and mines. You understand? They should leave certain things out. There are other people, that they get out.
If I tell you that mostly 3/4 of the gold mine in Guyana or the mining lands that should be for the people of Guyana is in the hands of a few people, a few of big miners. Guess what? You can't get enough. If you want to go and you want to do mining, you got to go beg these guys and pay them. They're landlords. They're not doing anything with the land, but they have it in their name. And some of them not even paying for the rent in the place. So what are we doing? That's the class that we created in this country.
They get another thing they just do the people, right? Where they get these people just get a land and they just use the small miners to go on the land. They just give them position to work, and when these people work and if they find gold, then they come and they move out these people. They don't have they're not signing get any form of documentation signing that, well, if the man find gold, you can't move the man and you can only dredge within certain feet or like let me say certain amount of feet close to the man. They basically putting people using them to see for gold. When the people find the gold, they come and they put their dredge right there. They move out the people dredge and all kind of thing they just do.
Yeah, right. You're right. You're very knowledgeable because those are the stories that we've been told, and that's why it come back. Our regulators, things like people like ERC, GGMC, and you could go on and on. The other regulators that are there, the Bank of Guyana, everybody got to do the work. If they do their work, if the EPA do their work, if the police do their work, you would see half of the problem that we have in Guyana you're not going to have. If we be able to collect our monies that we're supposed to be collecting, like you got to pay, like Russell, for example. I can't understand how Russell were allowed to do this thing to Guyana, saying that, imagine they're here since the mid-2000s and cannot make a profit up to now. What are you doing in my land? Get out. Go home.
You believe that they're making any profit? They're making money.
No, but I'm saying, no. I understand what they're doing because when the stories come out, nobody was ever telling you. But guess what? You mean to tell me that the regulators didn't know that these people every year, they come into you, boss, I ain't making no profit this year. Next year they come to you, I ain't make no profit this year. I can't give you no dividends. They come back again the third year. They do it for the 8th year. What does that make you? You got to be an idiot or you taking bribes. Let's don't put any icing on this,
Mm-hmm.
Let's don't put any icing on this.
Mr. Gildarie, at the end of the day, I believe this rests on the shoulder of the government. Because like I said one time on your program, if I give somebody something to do, I must be able to know what I want from them. If I don't know what I want from them, I'm just making a fool of myself. They will keep doing whatever they want. And this is what's happening in this country. You get the police force running, you get the people running the police force, the people doing what they want. You don't know what you're supposed to tell them that you want from them, and they would keep doing the same thing all the time. They would keep doing the same thing all the time. They send the police. You think the police doesn't know? The senior policeman doesn't know that the constable them coming out and harassing people on a daily basis. What is a thing going on with all of them so that when
there's a money making as a racket, is a big racket. It's been going on every time.
Harass you come to the bigger police to complain. It means that the bribe has to be bigger because you're talking to an inspector now. You're talking to no ordinary policeman. So instead of you give this ordinary policeman a 2,000, you got to give the inspector 10,000. So it's a thing going on with them. It's a business. So the government...
It's a business that we talking about it. Guess what? When you get a new policeman go on, the first thing the man said, don't send me to court or don't send me anywhere. I want to go to the road. Now, why would you want to go on the road where the sun is hot and rain beating down on you? You know why they're going on the road, right? You want me to spell it out though? All right.
It's money. And some of them showing $10,000
Money.
back salary.
You know the thing, man. You know the thing. You know the thing here. All right, I hear you very much. Thank you very much, dear sir, and let's continue this conversation.
Yeah, Mr. Gildarie.
Good day. Good day. So there you have it. Man talking straight talk there, and let's talk straight talk here. Who taking bribes? Who's taking bribes? Geology and mines officers. Who taking bribes? You can look at so many other things. What is happening? There is looking out for the people of Guyana through the banking sector, in charge of cambios and the banks, the Bank of Guyana. Bank of Guyana got to do their job. There's a financial intelligence unit, got to do their job. So there's so many things that we see. The Guyana Forestry Commission, what are you guys doing? Guyana Energy Agency, what are you guys doing? So there's so many things that we pay into all these organizations. And the man did have a good point there. How much money? We give several $100 million to the ERC to do what? That it must call Gildarie when Gildarie foul up. That Gildarie, you could just committed and you threatened you had you there. What is it that you said to him? And when I say what I said, he said, you should apologize. Apologize the minute that you do something. So you get a heck to court. You need to go to court. You need to be charged. You need to make an example. How long are people don't understand that when you commit a crime, that there's going to be repercussions? We're not going to change our attitudes. We're going to continue to cost our president. We're going to continue to cost the opposition people. We're going to continue to steal. And when a man steals something, a bicycle or something, you get a year in jail. When somebody steals millions, white-collar crimes, you know about that. You know what I'm talking about, right? White-collar crimes. Gets up, he pays somebody some money, and he gets up and he spends his millions. Let's get our act together. Let's know who the real criminals are. Let's know who the real enemies are. I want to say that to you. Today I'm very angry because when I see the hurt, when I see the people, what they're going through, we should not be sitting still and allow our people to be suffering like that. So, Leonard, James Bond, and Walla Lawrence are no longer MP. It's obvious there's a split in the party. Let us be careful of wolves in sheep's clothing. Let's be careful. These guys are now jumping on the bandwagon in Cotton Tree to save the image of the populace. These individuals are inciting the base to loot and rob because of the killing in Cotton Tree must be charged for this subversive behavior against the state of Guyana. I left Guyana because of the economic condition, like race baiting, looting, and insecurity to my beautiful country. I was fortunate to see the rest of the world. It hurts to see the destruction to my country. People must understand the effects of riots and subversion has on the supply chain on Guyana. And this is so right that this person is saying. If Guyana is aspiring to be like Dubai, then this lawlessness must stop ASAP as soon as possible. The Arab Emirates, United Arab Emirates from 1960 to today, have shown the world what oil money can do for migrants and Guyanese. Let's take this energy we're using to riot, rob, and loot, to approach Exxon to demand better infrastructure for our people, for our country. Let's support our government against Exxon when there's a division in our country. The imperialists and capitalists seizes the opportunity to divide and conquer. Then they walk away with all of our resources. This person understands what we're talking about. My Afro brothers, if we do not take care of our families' rise, our economical situation, no one will help us. Hitler tormented the Jews. Today they represented only 7 million in the population in America, but they control the economy here and abroad. God bless the Republic of Guyana. I love this caller here. I love this viewer here. I love this listener here. So very much on the ball. So very much on the money. You got to keep it up, and let's talk this language here. Good day, my contribution today. I think we have to stop the blame game. Guyanese people have a lot to talk. Some people just talking out of the head. Guyana cannot be better till we forgive the past. I never know all about the sickness. There's a wrong election time. We hear, we come and speak the truth, but there's a politicians for everything. 3 others before we go back to the line. At least it takes a bigger person to want peace and justice for all. But you cannot even open your mouth to say no comforting words. This is somebody else. Somebody said Good afternoon to Gildarie. I want to say something to you about GPL VAT cut, but you only pay your VAT when your bill is over 10,000. So I think to myself that no, right, they should take off the percentage like 4 or 5% off. Um, no, I think there's the VAT is off all everything. Let me see. I have to investigate it. Rice farmers getting low low paddy prices on the Eskimo coast. So on the Eskimo coast, I'm not sure how you're getting it. I need some more details. Could somebody text me? Hi there, good afternoon. Please get well soon. I wish that our people in our beautiful country could be one again now that the president take off back from what he likes to build. But still, the bill money is too much. Yes, the GPL needs to pay something. Hi, good afternoon, Leonard. I want GWI to look into this water situation in Back Dam, Eskimo. The water situation is rusty and stink. I'm going to send it to our minister. Good minister. The good minister has replied to us and said he's looking into it. He sent us something. He says it's not true with the report that they're getting there in the CI and in the West Coast area, Lenora. He says, according to this, let me see. Somebody is texting back and said, I just spoke to a gentleman there, Mr. Arshab Yakub, and he says the project manager will grant. He lives in CI. He says he's getting what he's not getting an issue. I'm going to check out. So thank you very much, dear Minister. And of course, GPL is looking into the situation in the West Indies area. So this is very good. We get some traction here from our ministers, from our people down there. And in the meantime, I'm not seeing anything else that they're saying there. So let us see. I'm getting a little, try here. Forgive me. I want to call on you to protect yourself from COVID. I am very strong. I would have been eating right, using my vitamins and water and things like that. But I was pushing a lot of hours over the last couple of months. And so take care of yourself. COVID-19, it's very, very clear that COVID-19 and the fact that I'm positive is having an impact on my physical well-being. My throat is paining a little. I'm using my lime and everything, but it's obvious that I've been pushing myself. What about you persons who are probably not not taking care of yourselves and you get hit on this? I want to urge you, let's don't get hit with the COVID-19. Let's protect ourselves. I want you to protect yourself. I love you guys. I don't want anything to happen. Every person will die out of Guyana because of COVID is a life that we could have saved. So I want you to protect yourself, wear your mask. If you're seated in the yard, whatever it is that you're doing, please protect yourself. Please, please. If there's any other call on the line, boys, could you bring me up the car with it? Let's bring our people on air right now. We want to hear from our people and keep those messages flowing. We have like about 50 minutes more. I want to bring in all those callers in. Yes, good afternoon, ma'am. You are here. Go right ahead.
A pleasant good afternoon to you. And how you feel today?
A little energy without energy, but go right ahead.
Drink
I'm eating
some
something
honey,
to put
right?
some energy.
Or drink
Yes,
some honey. Use some honey.
Yes, ma'am.
Me
Go right
very
ahead.
happy to hear that you and Dr. Yogi Mahabir come back on the line.
Yeah, he said, don't expect me to come every day, but I'm going to come. So I'm glad. We're working out the details of that at the moment.
You see, I one night for TV, you know.
Oh, he was on TV? Very good. Very good.
I'm glad to see you and I'm glad to see you.
Thank you, ma'am.
What do you think about this protest that go on? Really? Huh?
But the protest is halted. We understand that the road is relatively clear right now. I'm going to be talking to our reporters up there. But what we're seeing is that the roads in Barbados, that the authorities and security people are escorting vehicles back and forth. So there has not been any incident today. We're not hearing of any roadblocks. So that
They
situation.
hear them protest at Crabble Creek.
There was some picketing or something like that. I'm not sure what they could do there, really, because they're not blocking any road there, really. If they are, we got to think. But it's not anything major. Maybe there's some pushing for some instances or so. But let's see what happens.
Even a protest, and they kill people, burn people truck, kill people, do this thing, that thing. You don't see them that bandits Them not is a protester. And the
I hear you, sister.
protesters, they can't do anything about it. How people is hurting. When I go airport, and turn up my bus and can tell a back down, bore all 4-wheel, and take the all the passenger by go to the knee and you beg them. I buy for now beside the region 6.
When that happened?
Knee and you beg them. Then I loot everything. That is protest.
When that happened?
But on 2 days now.
You can get his number for me?
Not right now. Which number you want?
I want the boy number. I want that boy number. If you could get it, find a way of getting it to me. All right?
No number, but me go see if we get them for you, and if me get you, we tell you. But me tell you that all I call protesters, I call bandits.
It's not protest. It's criminal people injecting themselves into what should have been something. You know, people wanted justice. So criminals injected themselves and took advantage and made something that is so very that we are demanding justice now. We are demanding, as people of Guyana, we are demanding justice for the nonsense that they did there. Those criminal actions in Berbice. That's wrong. Totally wrong.
5 months I'll be punished. Then I'll be PVP go in Parliament now. And shall be there good. And me happy say that pension I will get $100,000.
Well, that's if we get our oil act together and the rest of the act together. The money is there, you know. We have all the money there. But guess what? We have to make sure that we collect it. And that's why I'm stressing, because our politicians got to make sure that they understand that the real enemies are not is not us. The real enemies is not our neighboring village. The real enemies are there, and they got to give us a better. Because you see, if they start giving us a better life and we raise our pensions, we don't have to go steal and things like that. We have it coming here. It's us. It belongs to us. We need that.
Look how water come there. I got to pay bill. And I'll be glad if I'm going to pay bill. So when the rain fall, I'll got your tree in water and still a bill come high. Got your tree in water, you do all work with, or you cook on your bed with pipe water, and still high bill come.
Right.
So
I hear you, sister. So you get a number to me and get it over to me, okay?
Yes. You know how much truck looting destroy? Well, people be dashed down with. Them sort of people throw away.
And it has an economic impact on those people who've been planting rice and all kind of thing. You know how much trauma you put into those people? How much troubles that you put in them? You destroy their livelihood. Why? Because we wicked people. You're criminals.
Yes.
I'm not going to beat around the bush. That's criminals. And anybody who my friends that come and try to justify that, they're not my friends. I can tell you that.
Them people that don't have love. Then who don't have God in them.
Yes. I hear you, sister. So thank you very much, right, for coming through.
All right, thanks. Right, take care. Have a blessed day.
You too. Thank you. And so all the time whenever we hear from that lady there, it's such, I really like hearing from her. It's always good. And so let me see something here. We in Albion are paying $23,000 a year for untreated water. Oily rust water is too much money for that quality of water. That's from one thing. So it's Albion. I'm not sure that you need GWI. You guys have the GWI thing. Whenever I did indicate to you a couple days back, and let me read these numbers to you. I want to read these numbers to you. So if you have a problem with GWI or GPL or GT&T, these are the numbers that you should be calling, because they are willing to take your complaints. This is the Public Utilities Commission, and we had them here yesterday with us. We heard, let me just read 2 more messages. We heard that the cash grant that the president is giving out is for every household, not more than one, and not for more than one family living in a house. This is not right. I'm not. Let's don't go by rumors. The president said every household. So if you get 3 households living in a place and you could justify that, I think you should be getting it. I think the president says every household. He didn't say every house, every household. If you got a wife and child and you living with your mother and father and they got their own part that they cook on one side, you have your own household there. That's a household. He didn't say every house, he said every household. As someone who recovered from COVID-19, try this formula. Boil some onions, garlic, orange peel, then add chilling oil and mix and breathe in the vapor. Thank you very much for that. I don't have a breathing problem really, but I've been using some Vicks and things like that. What I have right now is that I feel very tired, and I think that is something you lie down. But when you go to bed in the night and you just lie down, you say, "Wow." It's as if you're sinking into bed, but sleep wouldn't come sometime too, because I'm not sure what this thing do to you. You become very restless. You keep turning over your pillow so many times. But I really fear for those people who might have underlying conditions, who might have diabetes or heart conditions or so many other things, and you're suffering for whatever, and then you get this. This thing could expose you to so many other things. I'm saying this to you because I've suffered from this, and I don't want you to suffer from that. I love my people in Guyana too much. We should love each other. Let's share some of this love in this country. As we go forward, as we go by, we have to call, we have to see a better life. And the only way we can do it is not you and I, it's together, all of us. So let us go right over to if you have a complaint about your utilities and you're not getting the company like GWI or GT&T or GPL looking into it, you have a case that could be made and you could complain to the Public Utilities Commission. So I'm going to call some numbers here, which you could call them and they could tell you how you can make those complaints, and they look into it because they're the regulators. So in Georgetown, you can reach the Public Utilities Commission on 226-7042, 227-2182. So I repeat, 226-7042. In Georgetown also, 227-2182. In Essequibo, they're located in the Bees Mall. Bees Mall. I don't know where exactly this is, but I think everybody on the Essequibo Post should know. You could call 624-6000, 624-6000, and they could give you some guidance how you could file some complaints. They could ask you some questions. So in Berbice now, in the Portmore area, there is a location in the Portmore area for the Public Utilities Commission, and they could listen to you. So what you could call is 336-6192, 336-6192, or 336-6077, 6077, 336-6192, or 336-6077. And in Linden, they also have an office to a location, and you could call in the Linden Mackenzie area there, 444-2045, 444-2045. So that's it for the Public Utilities Commission. We have like about 5 minutes to go. So let me tell you what are some of the big stories that we're looking into today. The road has been opened back. That's what we've been told, that the authorities are escorting vehicles back and forth. There is not any road blockage at the moment. We're not hearing that. In the Region 5, in the budget time, yesterday the budget was presented. We have not heard it. There's a budget debate. I'm going to look back at it there. But Region, the budget was $300 billion was presented by Bishop Onegel, the Minister of Public Infrastructure, Public Works rather, and he would have been a former junior Minister of Finance. I know he would have presented it yesterday. So we have come down to the end of it, and let me use this couple minutes here to talk to you guys. Every time that we take actions, that should be civil actions, that should be anything to do with, standing up for rights. It's okay, it's your right. You have to do it. You have that right. It is part of a constitutional right. The minute that you do it and you block the roads and you rob people and you destroy people's vehicles, that's criminal. Gildarie and the rest of Guyana will not endorse you in that. And if you're doing that and we see your faces, you have to pay the price for that. You criminals, there's nothing else, there's no excuse for that. Your own party people, our own party people, everybody in Guyana is coming out, good writing, thinking citizens is coming out and say this is not something that they endorse. So I want to bring it to you very, very clear. In the meantime, it looks as if we're going to get back our papers to Berbice tomorrow, But in the meantime, you should tune in on Kaieteur Radio. We are bringing you the news. We have our reporters standing by bringing in the news on the hour. So they are going to be joined in a very short while. They are going to continue to bring you the news, what is happening across the lands. From your biggest radio station here, Kaieteur Radio, as well as Kaieteur News, they're going to be reading you the news. And that's coming to you on 99.1 in Demerara and Esquibo and 99.5 in Berbice. If you don't want to use the radio dials there, you can also, of course, get us online, and that is online on Facebook, on Kaieteur Radio on Facebook, or Kaieteur Radio live stream on YouTube. And so this has been your edition of the Wake Up Guyana show. It is your show. We're just a conduit of it. And so we want to continue to bring you the show. Next week, we're working good news here. Next week, we are going to bring you we're going to bring back to you some kind of order with regards to your room 592 there, talking to you, Mahadio. So let's see how it might not be room 592, it might be something else. So keep your finger crossed, and let's see what happens. We're going to be back with you next week with some regular programming in terms of those prime times in the evening. But in the meantime, join us tomorrow at 1 o'clock for your edition of the Wake Up Guyana show, your show, as the way your voices come, and you can raise those issues about what is affecting you. Have a pleasant rest of the day until we meet again.
Tips sponsored by Dex Soap. 1. Practice social distancing. 2. Wear your mask when leaving the house. 3. Wash your hands regularly for 20 seconds using our Dex Soap. 4. Cover your nose and mouth with a disposable tissue or flex elbow when you cough or sneeze. Choose Dex Soap for that extra cleanliness. Dex Soap is affordable and available nationwide.
FM, nationwide broadcast on Facebook Live.
Music never stop.
The afternoon high boys are back.
The party boss, WRES, a selector Andy.
Setting your aftertone on Kaieteur Radio.
DJ Masterflex.